What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys yet another prediction video. And as I said, leading up into these next few months, when I knew there was a bunch of events on the way, a lot of it is going to be predictions, recaps, and then reviews for battles. Predictions, recaps, reviews. That's just the nature of it when you have this many battles coming out at once. And here's URL getting back in the mix with Redemption 4. Headliners, New Jersey Twork versus Kid Slade, which I've been saying was going to get rebooked, was on the way again very soon. That's going to be the headliner. And then they've dropped the rest, 6 battles, dropped the rest of the undercard. Give my quick thoughts on it, right? And of course, it's going to drop on the app 2 days after. It goes down February 22nd in Orlando. They're doing the studio again, as they do most of their events now. Drops the app the 24th. I'll try to watch them all as soon as possible, do a recap talking about, quickly giving my results of the ones of all the battles, but then if anything is better than the rest or worthy of review the way like Slade and Jerry was on the last Nexus card, of course I'll do a bar for bar there. But speaking of, I know predictions recaps can get a little bit monotonous, even though it's still good to talk about. It can get formulaic, right? So since we're about a year removed, I will be bringing back within the next month top 5 current punchers, anglers, performers, etc. I did that about a year ago, looking at like the best active in the game right now, not just, I'll put top 5 pens, people are like, where's Loaded Lux, you know what I mean? But in terms of who's actually dated month to month, one of our active top tiers, or maybe even not even top tiers, right? If someone's doing something at a good enough rate, but gonna be bringing that back, so you can leave your comments now of anyone new that you think in 2025 is one of the best active punchers, performers, etc. And one more thing before we get into the predictions video, and this is kind of, not saying this is for sure going to happen, right? But I got 3 loves in life, man. I got my family, I got battle rap, and I have basketball. Love the NBA more than anything. Big part of my life, and I've been, as a Celtics fan right now, it's easy to be dialed in. I'm dialed in every year, but we're reaching post-All-Star break, right? And I've been thinking about doing some basketball content. We have playoffs on the way, obviously similar to battle rap. It's much more of a narrative-based game there, although we have actual winners and losers in terms of the expectations of certain people, the storylines going in, and also just wanting to give my opinions on some of the teams and players that I see succeeding or think have, pressure on them to succeed going into the playoffs. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a couple NBA videos. I want you guys to let me know if that's something you want to see. This has been a 100% battle rap channel, and it's going to be that more than anything, but just to maybe mix up the content. I don't know if you guys would like it. I've been thinking about it, and if you would like to see anything NBA related here on the channel, please let me know in the comments, and if there's enough kind of request for it or love for it, maybe I drop a video and see the response. It might be something I mix in here with the battle rap stuff. But that's enough yapping for me, man. Let's get right into the Redemption 4 predictions. So starting out from the bottom of the card, we have Jackboy Main versus J2 opening up the card. Pretty much got booked at the end of the last Nexus event, where they have kind of the commentary that goes to YouTube. J2 had just battled Jerry West, Jack had just battled Wusa. They immediately started talking to each other, talking crazy, and Smack basically booked it on the spot, right? And this is going to be a loud battle, obviously. Both of them are like overly aggressive, animated even, and that's going to be like the largest factor that pits their styles against each other. If you look at recently how they've done, it's J2 has simply been better as of recent. I feel like Jack's last few battles, after he beat Loso in this Orlando studio room, had him losing to Arsenal, and although he had the lupus flare up, so it's not fully on him in a sense, right? I did have him losing to Wusa, and then J2 on the other hand, and I keep saying this, but for the most part has been winning when he gets to the top tier competition, which you can kind of say for both of them. That's when it gets more difficult. But, he beat Jerry West. I had him beating Snake Eyes. Got a couple other wins mixed in there versus like notable, kind of like mid-tier but respectable names. J2's been doing his numbers. It's also 2 guys that I've predicted against recently. And J2 is the one that kind of keeps proving me wrong. And Jack, for the most part, although I think he's a better talent than J2 and has a higher ceiling, he has been losing those last couple battles. And, maybe J2 will get mad at me again. He always does when I predict against him, and might be against my better judgment. But I think Jackboy is due for one here. I think the Wusa situation, his material was really good. I actually liked what he was mostly able to get out. I do think Wu rapped a little better, plus Jackboy kind of had those stumbles throughout, but I think he has an opportunity here to like overperform, maybe take that attention away from J2, and if J2 kind of just punches his way to another victory that I didn't expect, that's something I got to deal with, but I do have Jackboy 2-1, but I think it could be a debatable battle. From there, we have JC versus Real Deal, which is definitely a cool matchup. top tier versus top tier, to be honest with you, even though I feel like in recent, I was kind of down on Real Deal for a bit, right? I thought the Rock battle was a tough look for him. He kind of got smoked there. He lost to Dice in Dice's first ever live battle. But since then, I've been liking the work that Real Deal has put out, whether it's the Jay the Nightwing battle, very good. Mike P battle, very good. I feel like he's kind of found his form again. And then you have JC, who also, I think, maybe to a bit of a higher degree, has found his form again. I think there's a good chance he'll go down as a top 10 battle rapper from last year when we do end up talking Cody debates. Wins versus Hollow, Bill Collector. I personally had him losing to Bad News, but I know I'm kind of in the minority of that, at least here on YouTube. He did very good in that. Him versus Eunice was a very good battle. So they're both coming in with, I think, a solid amount of momentum. I will say, though, I just think JC is doing it at a little bit of a higher rate, right? And I think Real Deal will, of course, always bring angles. Maybe he'll attack some things like the dancing angle with JC, but he's also kind of prides himself in, like, creative angles. So I don't know what approach he'll take, but I know he'll have a tailored approach, and it could be a bit hit or miss, right? If you use an old angle, if you use something new that doesn't fully go over, I just feel like there's more complexities to angling. While I know that JC kind of underrated how much more tailored he's been in the last year or two. But I think bar quality-wise, he's just better. I trust him more in this Orlando room that he's already been very good in versus Eunice. So I'm going JC 2-1, but it's a solid matchup. T-Top versus Kid Chaos is a bit of a funny one here, right? You have, like, Penn, like, a super duper pen style with Kid Chaos versus a T-Top who is just very far from that. Angler based, but obviously more of an entertainer. I think as the years have went on, T-Top reminds me so much. It's funny because they battled on Rookies versus Vets. Reminds me so much of Clips and just that, like, natural entertainer role, a moment maker. It's not always about being super tailored or being super bar for bar, even a bit simplistic with the wordplay or references at times, but using his showmanship to do it at the highest level. And obviously T-Top had a fantastic year last year. And the only thing that held him back, even in this Orlando room, right, versus Woosah, which is what I'll go off for now, is I think he had better material in that battle, but it's about being clean, right? I felt like he was a little bit slippity through the year. Not enough where I think it was like a bad year. I do think people overlook it a little bit, and I do think he's a better talent than Kid Chaos, who also, when he battled in here, battled O-Red and Real Deal. I had him beating Real Deal. A lot of people had that close, and he definitely lost to O-Red, but that's more of like, if it's pen versus pen, like it's easier to take the better pen because it's two of the same style, and that's much more respect to O-Red than it is like disrespect to Kid Chaos. I will say I'm taking T-Top 2-1 here. I hope he takes it serious and he's clean, and I just think he has more presence, maybe angles to attack. I don't know what particular approach he'll take with Kid Chaos, but I just think he's the better overall battle rapper. I don't think it's impossible for Chaos to win. I think he's when you're a pen in a small room like this, anything could happen, right? We know the talent that he has just in his writing, but since T-Top is coming off such a good year, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here, but I'm hoping that he's locked in. I know he has his event coming up. You got to be at full focus because Kid Chaos is definitely someone that could potentially catch a battler like T-Top slipping. And then we have Loso versus Lou Castro, which I'm not going to lie, not the biggest fan of it. I got to give Lou credit, though. His last battle on URL was versus Chess. I did not have him winning versus Chess going in. I can't say I loved the battle all that much, but it also wasn't a complete atrocity. It's pretty good Lou Castro. His third was the best round I've heard from him in a minute. I had him pretty clearly winning the battle, whether you called it 2-1 or 3-0. And Chess didn't even choke, which I think says a lot about the state that Chess is in right now, that he lost clean, just straight up battling with Lou Castro. But if Lou is going to put up a victory like that, you know what I'm saying, it's a step in the right direction. He also has Chef Trez coming up on Apollo. Feels like everybody's on the goddamn Apollo card. And Loso, I feel like, is a better talent, but it's kind of what I brought up with T-Top about being a little unclean. Loso has been very, very unclean. I think that's the only thing that made he had such a stacked resume last year, and I think people only look at the Rock and Geechee battle and like, how do you have a bad year when he's predicted to get killed in that? He didn't get killed. I personally had him 1-1, right? Judge voting went 0-2, but he got robbed versus Geechee, in my opinion. But talent-wise, I think he's better, but he hasn't been clean. He had over about 20 battles last year. I'd say he at least choked and stumbled in half of them, if not more, and I don't know if Lou Castro is going to be the one that incites a clean Loso. So until I see Loso clean, rapping clean, I am not picking Loso. I just can't do it. He's been stumbling all over the place, even if he has better material. Cleansiness is a huge factor of the game, and anyone that watches this channel knows I never had the utmost confidence in Lou Castro, but his last performance was his best in quite a bit of time. So I'm going to go Lou 2-1. but begrudgingly, and I'm almost hoping that Loso finds his form and is able to win this battle. And then that leaves you with the last two battles on the card, which to me are definitely the best matchups of the card, and that is Chef Trez versus Jerry West first, which some people would say both might have left a little bit to desire on their on the last Nexus card where they both performed. I'd half agree. I mean, Jerry West obviously choked and lost to J2. Definitely out of the normal. Shouldn't have happened for Jerry West, right? And then a lot of people did have Arsenal beating Chef Trez. I personally still had Trez winning. I know a lot of my media people I talked to had Trez winning, but it seems like the fan vote, when it's close enough to debate, people love like the pure rapping of Arsenal. Even if you look into the bar for bar, it kind of falls apart a bit. That's why I had Trez winning. I thought Ars had a lot of OBC, a lot of defeat bars, and step and light up a square like Billie Jean. I won't go all over it again, right? But I think he did good enough that I kind of can understand why some people have Ars. And I think we've seen better Trezes, even though I still had him winning, right? But both of them could be better from their last performance. I think there's going to be almost more of a respect level for each other, which is crazy to say because I know that Arsenal's a legend, but I think that Trez knows there might be a little bit just straight danger in front of him with Jerry. I think Jerry obviously had a bad performance last battle, right? So he's going to want to take a step back in the right direction. He's almost always been a consistent battle rapper for the most part, so for him to choke and lose like that is a bit of like out of the normal for him, right? So I think they're going to have that utmost respect for each other. I think they both want to be better than their last performance. And they both, even though they're kind of like specialties are a bit different, Jerry West is more performative. He's improved as a puncher. And Chef Trez punches, but I look at him more as like an all-around pen. He's the rebuttaling factor. Both of them have the ability to make moments, and I think there's going to be a bit, like I said, more of a respect factor, plus wanting to have better showings than their last one. So this could be the battle of the night. And I say that because Twork and Slade could be really good, and even though I kind of have it clear, which we'll talk about in a second, I still think that being a clear result could be battle of the night as well. But I think Trez and Jerry will be more competitive and could possibly match that in quality. I am going Trez 2-1 edge just because of the level he's been battle rapping at. Even though both of them have been pretty good the last couple years, Jerry is kind of, had a struggle leading that J2 battle, the T-Top battle, the Rock battle. He did decent, but he lost, right? And Trez has looked like a top 5 battle rapper the last couple of years. If you just look at the work, how he's competed against some of the best. So I'm going Trez 2-1 edge, but it could go either way. I think it'll be one of the best battles on the card. And that leaves you with the main event, which I just talked about a little bit, which is New Jersey Twork versus Kid Slade. Not only is it a great, two battlers that people want to see, there's danger here, and that makes it interesting because I do have New Jersey Twork clearly beating Kid Slade. It could be 2-1, if not 3-0, and this is something that Slade does versus top tiers. And once upon a time, going back to the Stumbles performance, he looked like he was going to be the next star. I still think talent-wise, he has that same talent. I even think he could be if he was rebranded proper, but URL's had this thing of where they book him versus top tiers just consecutively, right? I thought he got the Rock battle too early. You add the paperwork and kind of how that affected him. Even though he debatably won the battle bar for bar, right? It's a bit of a mess, and it did way worse for his stock than it did better, and it's just not a matchup that he needed that early, right? Then he has the Shotgun Suge battle. I thought he did really good versus Shotgun Suge. I think most people have Suge. I believe I had Suge in my review, but I think he did enough to make it competitive. But the timing of it, it's like people still kind of weren't fully ready to accept him. He's the Cortez battle. He does good and he wins that battle, in my opinion. He's got the Nitty battle in Arizona where he didn't even do bad. I thought he even did better on the playback than how I felt he did in the building. But he was never going to win that battle, right? You know what I'm saying? And he did end up losing that battle. And now he's battling a lot of the superstars the brand has to offer. He battled Rum Nitty, he battled Tay-Rock, he took Suge on the stage, and he's about to battle New Jersey Twork. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if they ever see him making a Gnome or an SM, but it just feels like he's getting almost force-fed all the biggest plates he could possibly get just right here. And I just think it's a tough situation. I think Twork is a better talent, as much respect as I have for Slade's game. And he's also going to be the first battle for Twork in a bunch of battles coming up, right? Twork's got Kid Slade, he's got T-Rex, he's got Vixen, he's got A-Ward. That's a lot of big battles. But the thing is, you always want to start a runoff on the right foot. So when I look at the Rex battle or the Vixen battle, I'm a little more worried for Twork there because I think he's going to give a bunch of effort to A-Ward. I don't think there's any world where that's the biggest card he's going to be on, biggest, toughest matchup. That's going to get a big portion of his attention. The battle I expect him to do second best in is the first of the run where the fatigue hasn't kicked in yet and he's trying to start off on the right foot. So I'm worried about Kid Slade getting one of the best performances out of these 4 big battles Twork has coming up. Now, if Twork maybe is a little more reserved, I don't think this would be the one where you want to start the run off good, right? So I don't think this is the one where he's more laid back or 70 or 80% as people say. So if he's getting like a full, like paying attention Twork in this Orlando smaller room where the energy still plays a big factor and bar for bar, even though I love what Slade does with the flow pockets, obviously the drug talk, the real talk, he's got a respectable pen of his own. He's not better than Twork at a lot of these categories, maybe except the pure rapping category, right? So I just think Twork clear is the safe bet here, and especially if it's Twork fully locked in and with the obvious angles that are there for Kid Slade, it could even get ugly, and it makes me worry a little bit about continuously booking Slade versus the best of the best in these situations back-to-back when he's not really stacking the wins up. I had him losing to Souffleur Soul in this exact same room, and Twork is like if Souffleur Soul is like the Charmander, he's the Charizard. You know what I'm saying? For my people that understand the Pokemon reference, this is an extremely difficult challenge. I don't know how confident I am in Slade winning at all. I think he'll do good because I think he almost always does good. But it's very, very difficult to see him winning this battle. But who knows? Maybe he's able to compete, and if this does end up as like a 2-1 debatable or a great battle, would love to review it because I respect them both a lot as talents, but it just goes to show how much respect I have for Twork and how locked in I do think he's going to be for this battle and then the A-Award battle, if not the others. And that is my full predictions here for Redemption 4. Of course, want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. How do you feel about the matchups? What do you think will be battle of the night? How are you calling some of the winners? And then particularly with Twork and Slade, how are you calling it? Do you agree with me where I haven't loved the way Slade has been booked? And do you see that same level of danger for him in this New Jersey Twork matchup, man? And of course, also have the top 5 currents, like I said, of all the style categories coming out. And please let me know. Like I said, maybe this will only be the only time I talk about it and won't come back up, but if you want to see some NBA content in the channel, please let me know in the comment section down below, man. But expect all types of battle rap content to start coming out more frequently. I know I've been having like my break during the move was 7 days, getting stuff together. It's been 3 to 4 days. But once these events start dropping, expect the every other day, even everyday uploads, as you guys have become used to and accustomed to on this channel. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.